there's nothing that people love more than debating the existence of a god and card tricks. So this is a very fair card trick that will allow you to pretty much do whatever you want to the spectator afterwards. After you show them this, they're pretty much going to be open season for you and your penis. So for this, we're just going to use these contraband cards just because I've already spent money on them, and there's no really need not to use them because I'm trying to figure out how I could get my money's worth for using these hot cards. Send me cards. So for this, you turn to the spectator and you tell them that in a moment you're gonna turn away because you don't really want to peek at anything that they're doing here. But you tell them that they're to deal cards just in a small little pile here and stop whenever they want. Then they look at this card right here, remember it, and cut the cards on top of it. That's what you tell the spectators to do here. Very, very fair and open here. As is all PigCake style magic here. The most fair and the most open. So they get the deck after the proper sanitation, and you look away, and they start dealing the cards here, and they stop wherever it is that they want. Let's say they stop right here. They memorize this card. And of course, they're going to ask you, what do they do at this point? Because their memory is that of a small, retarded tree monkey. So you tell them, oh, you could cut the deck if you want on top of that. As a matter of fact, do you trust me or do you want to shuffle the cards? You ask the participant, and they say, I'm going to shuffle the cards. In which case, you go, of course, you could do whatever you want. This is your little thing here. And of course, they're not gonna trust you. So they mix these cards up and they shuffle them. And then you tell them, oh, you know what? Just hold them in your hand there. I don't even want to touch them. And you tell them, sir, would you be impressed if I grab that deck, and then grab that deck, and ran through the cards and pulled out the card that you merely stopped at and that you're just thinking of right now? Would you be impressed, sir? And they say, of course I would be impressed. That would be the greatest thing I've ever had happen to me in my entire life because I'm miserable. And then you go, you know what? Would you be impressed if I could just not even touch the cards and tell you the card that you're thinking of? Would that be even more impressive, sir? And then the guy goes, yes, that would be the second most impressive thing that would ever happen in my entire life. The first being the first description of you telling me what would happen the first instance. And you go, you know what? I don't even want to touch the cards, sir. You just look at me. Look at me. Five of spades. And of course, at that point, they spontaneously erupt in a puddle of fluid. This method stems from the mind mirror in expert card technique. This is just a little variant on that. So for this trick, what you need is a small little bit of a setup. You actually need all your spade cards, which conveniently are pretty much ordered here in the middle of the deck for the most part. So you need these spade cards in order on top of the deck. The reason for this, if you haven't figured it out, is that you're going to be counting the amount of cards they deal. Yeah, that's the method. And you could actually dismiss the method by saying, oh, I don't want to hear the cards that you're counting while simultaneously hearing the cards that they're counting. It'll make sense in a little bit here. So we need all the spade cards here. In this case, they're going to be all in order. So we have the ace all the way through the 7. Then we have the, of course, we're missing the 8 of such a, hit the buttons for the production value here. For the production value. So we're going to need the spades in order. However, we're going to add some 4 cards here that don't matter on top of the spade. So the setup here, we have 4 cards that don't matter, much like your mother's love. And also we need the spades in order. That goes on top of the deck. That goes inside the box. The box goes inside of your pocket, and then you wear a face of an illusion because you're not really reflecting how you truly feel inside. And there you're ready to start. So you take out the deck. You give it a cut here. Of course, I'm securing a pinky break Let's see if we could truly check this production value. Smash the for the product. And you hold the break there, and you tell the spectator, you give him the instructions here. So as you're holding a break, you tell him to deal just a small pile of cards. Look at this card right here, and then cut the cards. Of course, I'm lifting up all the cards above the break, and then lifting all the cards and putting it on top of the deck. So now my setup is essentially on top of the deck, ready to be dealt. So in that fair process, you have not only shown the spectator what to do, you've also kind of demonstrated that it's going to be a different card, supposedly, every time. You've demonstrated that you just dealt the cards, you put it on top. It doesn't really matter. You gave it a false cut. So it should, so far, be a fair process. So you hand him the deck after obvious sanitation, because the contraband cards are really, really, really expensive. Fucking Theory 11. So they deal some cards out here, and these buffer cards are just going to be some cards just in case they happen to either mess up the deal or not have heard your instruction correctly, and they start the deal face up, and you say no, deal face down. So after the fourth card, that's when you're going to start counting in your little head. So they're dealing the cards, and you tell them, I don't want to hear anything or count anything, but really you keep a little bit of an ear open, because here you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say they stop right there. See, if you've counted correctly, you would know that this card right here is the 5 of spades. That's right. Had they dealt with more card, and you would have counted 6 cards, that would have been let's see, this is interactive right here. The 6 of spades. Man, you guys are hit that button if you like yourself. So that's the method right here. So wherever it is that they stop in this little group, you count. So let's say you've counted 8 cards past those 4 cards. They happen to be the 8 of spades. You say, okay, cut the cards on top of it. And you know what? If you want, you could shuffle the deck, but I wouldn't recommend it. And of course, they're going to go and shuffle the deck. And at this point, you could reveal the card in which way you want. If you want, you could do the whole... that was a Richard Austin employee, by the way, where you tell them, would it be impressive if I could run through the deck and find your card? And they're going to say, yeah, well, that would be so impressive. I'll ejaculate all over the place. And then you step it up and you say, you know what, I don't even want to touch the deck. And you seem like Mr. Magic here when you go 8 of spades. And of course, at that point, they freak out. So it's a really simple method. It's a really simple trick. And I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, but what if they keep dealing? But what if they don't stop dealing? PigCake. But what if they don't stop? PigCake. But what if they don't stop dealing? So in that case, you're going to require just a tad little bit more work here. So let's say we have our fat setup here. We'll just rummage through this for the sake of explanation here. So you have your setup here on top. You have the cards that don't matter, the 4 cards here. That goes on top of this setup. And let's say that they decide to deal past the 13th card. So they deal past the king of spades here. See, what you've done beforehand, because you're a clever cunt, is that you've gauged the spectator. You've gauged their demeanor to determine if they're the type to fuck with your trick. And you would have peeked at the bottom card here. You would have peeked at the bottom card before you handed a deck. So that therefore they could stop dealing wherever it is that they want. And when they look at this card and they put this on top, you're now ready for a key card trick. So you could cut the cards. They could cut the cards as much as they want. Yes, it's not a fair shuffle, but this is what you have to deal with if your spectators decide to be cunts. And at this point, you could spread the deck, and then you could peek at the card here that they happen to have stopped at. So if it's the 5 of diamonds, that's your key card. You're looking for the card that's to the immediate right of it. And you note that card and you say, you know what, you could even shuffle the deck. I don't want to see anything, of course, after having already seen the card. You see the subtlety here. They shuffle the deck, and then you could go and proceed in the same exact way. So that's the out in case your spectator decide to be a cunt. But that's a simple trick. Don't dismiss it just because of either the setup or because it seems simple enough. It's a very fair card trick that a lot of people really neglect. So you learned that. I'm gonna go do all the things, and I'm gonna go also wonder if I could eat and not gain weight because of body dysmorphia. Yeah.
Again, when I see you 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 again.